What is up YouTube? Nyks here, back with another video. And yeah, sorry for the shitty mic quality in this video. My main separate microphone that I use for recording is not available right now. I had to give it to someone to record something else. So yeah, I didn't really want to put out a video on my headset because the mic quality obviously isn't as good. But yeah, hopefully you guys don't mind. And yes, we are finally seeing some response from Neowiz to address the optimization and player hacking that's been happening in the game. More importantly, the optimization. Player hacking I don't really know of. I know there was a bug that came out where you could dupe things, but that was pretty quickly resolved in my opinion, so hasn't really bothered me. But this part right here, the optimization, that is a big thing that led to Bliss's decline in popularity and in population, I guess. So yeah, let's get into it. So they go on, we're hoping that the 4th of July update brought with it new content with the Basal Gorge as well as the Royal Quest. I will be making a video on this later on. There are some issues with this right now. There's no reason for people to go into Basal Gorge and do the content. But I don't know. I don't know this from my end since I haven't actually tested it, but yeah, at least we have some PvP going. I'm kind of happy about that. So I'll make a video on this in the state of the game update, so expect that sometime this week. Alright, let's get into the meat of things. Optimization. So I'll read through this. You guys can have a look at this. I'll link it in the description below. Okay, so we know that the optimization is a big question on the community's collective mind right now. And knowing that many users are manually editing the INI files in an effort to improve performance themselves. Cool, so they know what we're doing, and it's pretty obvious. Like half the threads on Reddit at this point are of them literally doing exactly that, putting up videos and guides on how to change the INI files to get better performance, and in fact they do work for the most part. They go on to say that while we know that improving performance isn't that simple, we also recognize that altering the INI file represents a greater issue. So here they're basically talking about hacking. You can set like different gravity values through the INI files, and it's generally just a shitfest when it comes to the game client being hacked. So yeah, good to know that they're addressing that. Our devs are in fact currently in progress of refining the settings so that players who don't alter the INI files can further customize the game to match their own needs through the game's own settings menu. This was one of the main things that I really wanted. A lot of the INI file edits can literally just be put up in the settings page as a slider. So a lot of the issues that we are facing currently will be fixed with this, just tweaking of the in-game settings themselves. I noticed that putting shadows on 4 instead of 5 made a huge difference, and if you remove shadows altogether, you just get a very large noticeable jump in performance. We're talking like going from 30 FPS to around 40 to 50 FPS constant in towns, so that's a huge deal. Yeah, hopefully this whole thing works out. I think this will add quite a big chunk of performance when it's released. They go on to say that in addition to the first step towards the improved optimization, we are currently focused on looking for solutions that fix the performance issues at the core of the community-made INI file modifications. We have identified specific problems in the UI manager. This is probably the UI lag that people are experiencing most of the time. Well, when I say most of the time, it's like as soon as you load into the game, the first time you ever open a UI element, it's gonna lag. It pauses for like a second or so and then it opens up. So pretty sure that's that. And here's the juicy part. And in the level streaming, we are looking to delete unneeded files that were included in the game build, removing redundant output in region level boundaries, etc. So here is the other thing that they are finally addressing. the fact that the game is loading assets which are way beyond the actual draw distance. So I'm hoping they get the whole thing going well, where you can have proper culling. For those people that know a bit of game dev would know what culling is. It's essentially just rendering the things that are actually visible to the person rather than rendering the whole scene at once. So when you have proper culling applied to a game, you can have a pretty large increase in its performance, since the CPU isn't stressed out to like 100% all the time, since it only has to figure out the geometry of the things that are visible to the person playing the game, rather than everything in the level all at once. So this is probably going to be the biggest performance increase that we're going to get. The rest of this is kind of just not important to me anyway. Hacking, they go on to say that blah blah blah, we know that there's been exploits and all that jazz, and helping sharing videos and giving us evidence will help greatly towards that. The only other part that I found interesting is the fact that they're trying to figure out server stability and trying to get all that stuff sorted, and they're going to do this sometime in July by opening a test environment server, essentially just a stress testing server where they can figure out the root of the problem. So hopefully the server is also used to deploy and fix up any of the next patches that are going to come out. So, you know, deploy it onto that test server, have the people test it out for a couple of days, and then deploy the polished copy onto the actual live servers. So yeah, great news all around. The hacker thing I already mentioned, I think. And yeah, another thing on the hacking side of it is the fact that Neowiz has been making some changes to the Battle Eye launcher. So that is a thing that checks your files and all that jazz, seeing that if any edits have been made. And yeah, I think it's already deployed at this point, so there should be a lot less people exploiting the game's INE files and doing all that stupid shit in PvP where you're just kind of just flying over characters and just beaming them from top. So shouldn't be any of that. And yeah, I would say overall this is something that should have happened much earlier than this, but regardless, it's good news all around. If they get this thing sorted, I might actually start playing again, not even joking. As I said, before even the game launched, I said that optimization is going to be the biggest thing, and look where we are now. So hopefully they add all these optimization fixes and test server stuff by the end of July, or even in the next patch if they can, because the game really needs it right now. The population is sadly still declining, but I think we're going to stabilize around the 2 to 3k mark. Yeah, hopefully people hang in there. And yeah, good news all around. That's about it for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And yeah, like if you liked it, dislike if you didn't like it. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you soon. Peace.